Hello and welcome. Let's begin with South Africa, a country that is headed to its tightest vote since the end of apartheid and the beginning of democracy. South Africans will vote in national and provincial elections on the 29th of May. The upcoming vote is a test for Nelson Mandela's legacy and the 30-year rule of the African National Congress. As the political race heats up, campaigning has become increasingly aggressive. In the latest, there has been a massive controversy over an advert by the opposition Democratic Alliance, which shows the South African flag on fire, while a voiceover warns life will only get worse under the ANC. President Cyril Ramaphosa has hit out at the Democratic Alliance, calling its advert treasonous and an abuse. Ramaphosa also said the advert undermines the unity of the country.
With regard to the burning of the flag, even in a political advert, that is treasonous. The flag of our country is a sacred article in the life of our country. It is that flag that unites all of us. It is despicable that a political party can, as it seeks to express itself, go and burn the symbol of our unity, the symbol of our existence as a nation. And I think it is treasonous because anybody, particularly an organization that does something like that for political expediency, should really be ashamed of themselves, because it is the most despicable political act that anyone can embark upon, particularly when they are campaigning for votes.
The Democratic Alliance has defended the image, saying it was intended at highlighting its argument that the country is in trouble under the African National Congress. The ANC itself is under growing pressure, and so is President Cyril Ramaphosa. Some polls suggest the governing party could get less than 50% of the vote for the first time in 30 years. This has raised the possibility of a coalition government. The ANC has been facing mounting criticism and is witnessing support being chipped away.
Over the course of the last 30 years, we have worked to give fulfillment to what was set out in the Freedom Charter. We have done all this largely because the workers of our country united and said that we are going to ensure that we win our freedom. The workers of this country, the people of this country, are not going to allow the ANC to go below 50%. They are working for an outright majority of the African National Congress.
South Africa is witnessing stubbornly high unemployment, which hit 32% last year. Crime, corruption, and power cuts have further hit the ANC's popularity. But the ANC says it is working to fix these problems. The party is urging people to not throw away gains made since the end of apartheid. On the other hand is one of South Africa's most popular leaders, Jacob Zuma. The disgruntled former president was ousted by President Ramaphosa amid corruption allegations. Zuma, who denies these allegations, was later jailed for defying a court order. Now he has thrown political weight behind a fresh rival to the ANC, his own MK Party. Zumas New Party pledges to transform South Africa, including an aim to create 5 million jobs.
It's as though the elections have already passed. It's like we have already won. When these elections pass, we will perform miracles. Those who have only heard about us will see what we are capable of. We are not playing. We will change everything that is out of order. The whole of South Africa knows that today there is a new political party that is 3 months old, but the biggest of them all, the MK Party.
There is also the Democratic Alliance, which says that the country is in crisis under the ANC. It has promised to liberalize the economy and to move towards greater privatization. It has pledged to create 2 million new jobs, end power cuts, and halve the rate of violent crime. The Economic Freedom Fighters, or the EFF, the third largest party in parliament, has also presented radical economic solutions to address unemployment and inequality. It plans to redistribute land to the less well-off and to nationalize mines and banks. So, who could be South Africa's next president? Well, the people do not vote for a president. They instead elect 400 members of the National Assembly, who then vote for a new head of state within 30 days of general election. So there are no presidential candidates as such, but the frontrunners are clear, with each party fronting their campaigns with portraits of their leader. Can the ANC make a smooth comeback, or will it be forced to enter an alliance? How deep a dent can Jacob Zuma's MK Party make? Now, for more on this, we have with us political analyst Kani Magubane, who is joining us live from Johannesburg. Hello to you, Kani. Thank you for being with us on the show.
A very good afternoon to you and your viewers.
Right now, the DA has been heavily criticized for their most recent campaign advert depicting the burning of the South African flag, with President Cyril Ramaphosa calling this treasonous. What do you make of the advert, and do you feel that it is a step too far?
Thank you very much. I think that when we look at the world of advertising, first things first, we must understand that advertising is very psychological in nature because it's there to influence people's perceptions. That's why people advertise. And in the case of the DA advert, there is a psychological conditioning, or there's a type of impact that such a visual has when you see the flag of South Africa burning and you have a voiceover running saying that under the leadership of the ANC, the violent EFF and the Zuma faction, the country will only continue to go downhill. That is quite sensationalist. You know, that is inciting fear amongst their voters to say this is not the way we want to go. They are literally saying South Africa will burn under the leadership of the ANC. And to me, there's a level of recklessness when it comes to this, because South Africans have fought very far to even have a flag of the current nature that we have. We come from the old South African flag, which was the National Party flag, and that was the symbol of apartheid. And the current flag that we have right now is part and parcel of our national symbol of democracy, whether we talk about a democracy that's failing or a democracy that is successful currently, but we are talking about a dispensation that brought to an end South Africa's dark past. So for the DA to simply have an advert that seems to only take things at the surface level, I think that's my biggest problem, is that they're not taking a deeper look into the meaning of the advert that they've put out. They're very shallow in their approach to say South Africa will burn under the apartheid, the ANC government, but it will shine under us. That's very simplistic and it's very reckless of the DA.
Now, Kani, the DA has defended its campaign advert, and they've said that a coalition between the ANC, the EFF, and the MK parties represents a real danger to South African democracy and to the future of the country. Is this a reasonable assessment, and is it likely that there will be a coalition between these parties, considering the tumultuous history between the members?
Well, absolutely not. I think that this is political rhetoric. You must understand the era that we are in. We're right in the thick of things. This is the final push before the elections. Elections are about 20 days away. And so parties have started intensifying their messaging. They are starting to intensify their communication because they really want to sway the voters. And of course, this is fear mongering. It's nothing more than fear mongering to say that under the ANC, South Africa will absolutely and totally collapse when the DA itself has failed to present a credible future for this country, because the DA's messaging currently is based heavily on the failures of the ANC, and it's based heavily on what is already in the public eye. However, in their political communication and in their messaging, they've been quite scant on the alternative. And they keep saying, we need to rescue South Africa, we need to rescue South Africa. But on their stages and on platforms, when they speak to the public, they don't continue reiterating the solutions. They keep on reiterating what the ANC has done wrong. And we all see what the ANC, has done wrong. And we all see the ANC's failures. And so I think that as a voter myself, whoever I will vote in, if not the ANC or if not the DA, whichever party that I'm voting in, it has to be a party that has convinced me as a voter that they truly have feasible, workable solutions to what we are currently experiencing in terms of our structural problems, in terms of our economic problems, in terms of our social problems, deep social problems that we're experiencing. But unfortunately, the parties that are campaigning right now, particularly the DA, because we are talking about them, they've hinged on the ANC's failures, but not so much on their own solutions.
Right, and do you think that former President Jacob Zuma and his MK Party can possibly make any real dents to the ANC numbers in this election? Do you think that his party can gain substantial ground?
I think that the polls have shown us that in KZN, the MK Party stands to perform quite well. In fact, some recent polls have put them at number 2 behind the IFP, which is very significantly higher than what we could have anticipated for such a young party, which shows you that there's been quite a strong mobilization on the ground to mobilize support for the party. However, the recent party infighting has done a lot to dent its almost clean record that it's had up to now. Up until now, there were the new poster kids, there were the new kids on the block that were doing really well, that came in and that captured people's attention and support. However, it is starting to emerge right now that the leadership is not united. If the fight between former President Jacob Zuma and MK Party founder leader Jabulani Khumalo is anything to go by, then we are seeing a very similar pattern to parties that break away from the ANC, parties like COPE, the Congress of the People, parties that experienced a lot of political infighting not long after they broke away from the ANC. And so I think that the MK has dented its own image, by publicly having these spats. In my opinion, I would have advised them to keep them together, to continue presenting a united front so that they can preserve those first-time voters. Because now there's a sense of uneasiness and a sense of fear because people don't want to be voting for another party that's going to be fighting amongst themselves more than they will be committed to bringing services to people.
Absolutely, Connie. Thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa. Firstpost reports from the world's second largest continent.
Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange. A very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa.
We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa.
South Africa goes to the polls on the 29th of May. I will track the election and bring you ground reports. Is it the end of the road for the African National Congress? And will former President Jacob Zuma stage a dramatic comeback?
From elections to climate change to innovations
and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global south. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost.